Hello guys, this is Omar with Team Sinister Gaming. This weekend I went to the Las Vegas Regional and I ended up getting 28th place. I unfortunately lost my last round, which would have guaranteed me my top 8. I played against a matchup that I was just not expecting, which was Sprite Melfi Adventure. So this guy essentially caught me off guard. He won the die roll, set up his unbreakable board. We went to game 2. I did my thing, and then game 3 he Ibly locked me, and I just did not see an out to that, and ended up losing that match. But overall, the deck performed well. I have no complaints whatsoever, other than maybe changing like 1 or 2 cards. But I'll show you guys the list, and let's get started. So I played 3 Connector and the 1 Dolphin. People were just instantly scooping to this card. If it resolved, people would just conceal the information and go on to the next game. I did see a lot of Nibiru's this weekend, and I did do a certain path line that plays around Nibiru. If I have time, I'll show it at the end of the video, but to continue, I did play 3 Ogier, 2 Renaud, and for the 1-ofs, I played 1 Gearfried, 1 Turpin, 1 Magius, 1 Oliver, Fireflint, Red Layer, and Ricardetto. The only thing different that I've seen from other lists is that they usually tend to play 3 Renaud. I just cut this down to 2 just because I don't want to open multiples of this card, even though this is probably one of your best follow-ups in the deck. I just don't want to see multiples of this card in my hand. For the hand traps, I played 3 Imperm, 3 Droll, 3 Ash. I think this is just fairly standard, this format. Droll is just insane if it resolves. Ash is good for Labyrinth and Branded. Imperm was solid. I played a couple of, what are they called? The Flundereefs players. Played a couple of those guys, and Infinite Impermanence was just insane in those matchups. For Searchers, I played 3 Heritage, 3 Museum. These are my equips, which is the Almace, Divine Sword, DDR, Joyous, 3 Durandal, the Rhoda, Callby, and Tactics. Tactics was alright all weekend. Most of the time I was sniping Drolls out of people's hands, so I never really got to resolve it as much as I wanted to. There were some instances, like I said earlier, where I did see a Nibiru in hand and I followed a certain path. So whenever they would activate that, I would just activate Tactics, rip another one from the hand. Now they have 3 cards in hand, and I would just continue playing. But yeah, let's see here. For the side deck, I played 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Nib, 3 Book of Moon, 2 Bell, and then the 4 back row hate cards. So I played a total of, I believe it was 3 or 4 Labyrinth, 3 Flu, and then 1 Sword Soul, and I just can't remember my other matchup. But oh, Sprite, the Sprite Melfi guy. So yeah, it was 3 Labyrinth, 3 Flu, that's 6, a Sword Soul, that's 7, the Sprite Melfi, that's 8, and then there was 1 matchup that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But these cards, I never saw them, and I never really cited them in. Dark Ruler was there, it was okay. Book of Moon, I saw it once against a Flu player, and I just booked their Impin. These came in almost every round. The Bell was there for Labyrinth. I just wanted to hit the big welcomes. It was also there intended for Branded, but I did not play against a single Branded player, so I just did not want to lose to that Gimmick Puppet Cheese. Cosmic was there for Labyrinth, hitting Floodgates, And I just wanted to respect Runic too. Runic for Higher Sprite or Runic Life Twin. I just like to respect those decks. I just don't want to lose to something like that. Harpies came in. I never saw it, but I mean, it's there to do what it's there to do. For the extra deck, let's see. For the XYZs, I played Dempsey, Artorias, and Zeus. I made Artorias against a Flute player after he de-barriered me. I ended up popping his, was it the one that keeps tributing Unexplored Winds, I believe, and then the Field Spell in a simplified game state. Couldn't make a comeback after that. Dempsey's there for one of the path lines where you have to make him the search for Nod. I don't think I ever made it this weekend. Zeus was there for cash. I was hoping to take their monster and then just slap a Zeus on top of it. Or sometimes you could go Dempsey, swing at something, then slap a Zeus on top. But that never came up. For the links, let's see. Ferocious Flame Swordsman, 2 Isoldes, 2 Charles, Raten, and Appaloosa. Never made this. I tried making it against the Sprite player that gave me the Ivli. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that far. Isolde, double Isolde came up a couple times. Charles, double Charles always comes out. Raten, I made him a couple times. He was okay. Now probably the MVP of the weekend was Appaloosa. So every time I made this card, I essentially won. I'll show you guys the line afterwards, which makes this card. Then I made Baron, Charles, Roland, Angelica, and Lancelin. There was only one time I made Lancelin, but that line never really came up. Let me show you guys that line I'm talking about with Appaloosa. So for this particular combo line, you need either a Durandal, just some way to get to Connector, and Renaud. So let's just say you open Connector Renaud, right? Just for the sake of the video. So you open Connector, and then you use Effect, right? Where you at? And then you summon Dolphin, and you just discard a random card, right? And you see that your opponent's hand, and they have Nibiru, right? Okay, so you say that's fine. Alright, so you link into Isolde. And shout out to Team COG for this one. This line was actually insane all weekend. So you use Isolde effect. Put these over here. Just sending a Durandal. Oh, don't forget to trigger the search effect. So you just add, I don't know, that layer. You use Isolde, you dump 4 equips. You're gonna dump Durandal, Joyous, DDR, and Divine Sword. You dump those 4, and then you summon out. Summon Ogier, and then you use Ogier's effect. Dumping Ricardetto wherever you are at. There you are. So you dumped Ricardetto there, and then from here you special summon your Renaud. Use Renaud's effect to add back the DDR, right? And then right here you just ask for a response. I did this at least 6 times this weekend, where I asked for a response here, knowing that they had the Nibiru in hand, and I think people were just thinking that I was bluffing. But in most instances, they just said, "No, you're good to go," and I was like, "Okay." Well, I would link these 3 off, and then summon Appaloosa, And then now their Nibiru's dead. And then you just continue comboing off the way you were comboing. But in that instance, say they did Nibiru me, right? Say I have the Isolde, Renaud, and the Ogier, and then they did Nib me there, right? You just go to Grave, and then you use your Divine's Phoenix Blade, vanish the Isolde, and then the Ricardetto, vanish those two, add back your Phoenix Sword. And then you just DDR, discard the sword, summon Ricardetto back, and then you use your effect, summon back Ogier, and then from there you just go into Angelica, trigger effect, search your field spell. Then you just keep comboing from there. Usually you end on like Charles, hopefully a Gear Freed right here, and then you pop their Nibiru and you still have your fat Nibiru token. That's probably the combo line that I used almost the entire event. Like, if I had no hand knowledge of what my opponent was playing, I always anticipated Nibiru just because I thought what's that deck? Unchained. I just thought Unchained was going to be really represented in that event, along with like Labyrinth, Dragonlink. So I was expecting a lot of Droll, Nibiru, and I did get Nibiru'd twice. One of them was insane. I even opted to play around in Nibiru with my Gear Freed. He Nibiru'd me. I sent my equip to negate the Nibiru. He chained Gamma, I chained Dash, and then he chained Imperm on my Gear Freed, and I unfortunately got board wiped, and then lost the next turn. Yeah, dude, Drew insane. Shout out to him for getting 4th place at the event. But I have no complaints other than maybe cutting the Zeus out, and maybe cutting the red layer, possibly for another Fireflint lady. The red layer is just, I don't know, it just seems kind of meh compared to everything else that I could possibly play. If anything, I'd cut this for another Fireflint, or maybe a 3rd Renaud, I don't know. I just don't want to break with those cards. And then the Zeus might be a Lingerivo, depending on how the format starts to shift. But yeah, so this is my deck profile. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, you know, if you guys have anything. I ended up getting 28th place out of, I believe it was like 286 players or something. I'm not sure if I was the only Infernoble in the top cut, if you may. But yeah, thanks again. Bye.